It's your girl, Professor Cinephile, and I'm actually excited to talk about this film because I'm a franchise girly and I'm so committed to franchises. So I was very excited that this film came out because I knew I was going to be seated and ready for it. And I'm talking about none other than Jurassic Park Jurassic World Rebirth, whatever, Jurassic Park in the 18th segment of it, and I don't care because I was there. So that's what we're talking about. Spoiler alert, I will be talking about this film in detail and might reveal some things that you don't want to see. So you can pause, come back after you're done, or you can just watch through and, whatever. It's not, you can't really ruin and spoil, a Jurassic Park film, right? Okay, so my commitment to franchises is real, okay? I've seen all the Fast and Furious, even when they went to space. I've seen all of the Saw films. I've seen the all the Nightmare on Elm Street's Final Destination. Even when they come 20 years later, I am committed. I will be there. I will be set. And so when I found out that they were doing yet another Jurassic Park or Jurassic World type thing, I was like, let me join in and see what's up. And I'm glad that I did. After watching it, I actually was like, you know what? This kind of slides, I think, into the top three for me. So it was really well done. So, just to give you the premise, you basically got the dinosaurs have all kind of moved to the equator, which is the only place that's really sustainable. And the reason they're there is because they've basically been abandoned. So many things have been going on. They've become dangerous or what have you. And there's really nowhere on the earth for them to live freely. So they have been moved, they basically stay in the equator, and there's parts where it's like considered no travel zones. You're not allowed to go there. It's technically illegal. You're not supposed to be there at all. But the interesting thing that we do find out is that a lot of the dinosaurs there are like were like crossbred in these like really weird experimental ways. And so like there are these new types of dinosaurs, but because one ended up killing people back in 2008, they kind of abandoned the project. And so here we are, right? So what is the plot? A guy who does like biotech, whatever, wants to be rich, is already rich, but wants to make more money and stuff, kind of comes up with this idea, that they can take biomaterial from the big three groups, land, air, and sea of these dinosaurs, and they could cure heart disease and possibly so many other things, right? So he hires this team that includes Zora, who is played by Scarlett Johansson, right? And Duncan, who is played by Mahershala Ali. And they're like the two big stars of this film, which is pretty cool because like they don't always get like really big stars or people that we actually like, right? So this was a nice, kind of way to bring the series back. Talented actor. I wasn't sure they were going to have chemistry, but they did, and I actually liked them together. I think they could probably do a really good bank heist movie together as well. Not so much rom-com because whatever. But anyway, so you have them, and she's like this ex-military mercenary type. He's also like on some like pirate type stuff, and he's got a team. They all got a team. They all know each other. They have done kind of Mission Impossible type stuff before. So he pays them, offers $10 million for the team to come and help him retrieve this. He also gets an archaeologist who is probably the only person in the world who actually cares at all about these dinosaurs anymore. And so they bring him on to come do it. So that's kind of what the premise is. They're going to go to this area by the equator where no one is allowed to go because the dinosaurs live there and they run the waters, they run the air, and they run the land. So of course they go. So the other story is that there is a man who, he's a sailor type or whatever. He's taking his daughters and his oldest daughter's boyfriend out sailing before oldest daughter goes to college. And somehow they get shipwrecked and they end up in these waters. So they went too far, right? So it's him, his daughter's the boyfriend. They talk about how mom would be mad, so mom is in the picture. But he takes his kids there to this kind of no man's land thing, and they end up getting shipwrecked. So they get shipwrecked, and the other team, even though they have their mission to go to this island, they go and pick them up. Okay, so that's how all these people end up coming together, right? But of course, you know there's a lot of corruption and confusion because a billionaire is involved. And anytime people with a lot of money are involved, there's going to be crazy stuff, right? So, um, yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. And so they're going and it's really like, they're going on a journey, they're hiking, they're having all these different things. Their main goals, they have to get one from a big land one, and they're able to do that. They get one from the water, they get one from the air, they actually extract it from the egg and all this stuff like that. But they have to go through all of those things. People get killed along the way because, again, this is no man's land. So these dinosaurs are not playing. They're like, why are you here? Like you're like a before dinner snack. What are you doing here? And so they get smacked around a lot. A lot of good kill scenes in this one too. There's some times where you have to suspend disbelief, and and my biggest issue, and the reason why I'm not giving it like 5 hearts or anything, is because there are some inconsistency issues. I know that I'm like hyper focused on that when it comes to film. So you hear me say that a lot. But I do think that it's important, particularly in a film like this, that like your props are consistent. Like your placement is consistent. And that's an editing issue as much as it is, staging and directing and blocking, whatever. It's really editing. It's like there are some times where it's like really pronounced that this person was not in this position in the last frame. Like, what are you doing? Right. And so sometimes that can be a little bit distracting. And then there's just some things that just did not quite make sense. And I was just kind of like, why would a person do this? Like, there's some times that I understand this is a fantasy, right? We know that these are like sci-fi, fantasy, thriller type things, and that people are going to make decisions and choices that the average human being wouldn't make. And I can usually suspend disbelief. But there were some times where I was just like, why did you do that? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, nothing about this makes sense. And the way that you approach that absolutely makes no sense. So, I would have liked them to have explored some of that stuff a little bit better or just kind of tightened it up a little bit. But you do get some good backstory on folks. They do try to humanize people. You do realize, what people's motivations are beyond the $10 million. For example, Duncan, lost his child and has this like fierce commitment to protecting children. So that comes into play, but also kind of shows up in that why did you do that kind of thing? I liked Mahershala in this. I like to see him doing something different than some of the serious roles we tend to see him in. This was kind of in line with ScarJo. She's kind of does that like badass hair slicked back, kicking ass kind of thing. She does that quite a bit. So she showed up in that. And then, the other actors are lesser known folks that I didn't recognize from anything else. And I think that they did a pretty good job. The girl that plays, I think her name was Teresa or something, the actress that plays her, she's a little over the top for me. There was times where I was just like, shut up, like bring it down a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. It's a little too much. But she was trying, and I think she's also trying to work with this material that she got. I don't think it was the best writing, but it's also a Jurassic Park film, so we don't expect like the most brilliant like Academy Award nominee writing, right? There's some things that I was just like, it's kind of corny. But overall, I definitely enjoyed it. It is actually one that I would watch again if it came on television. So I probably will watch it again just to pick up on some other things that I missed. I'm gonna actually give it 3.5 hearts. 1 heart I take away just again because the inconsistency stuff that really drives me up the wall. And then the other half I take away because it's a Jurassic Park film. Like, come on. Like, knock it off, right? It's not like Transformers or anything. So, yeah. But, if you're interested in something and you just want an easy, kind of fun watch, nothing that's gonna make you think too much, but something that will keep you entertained. I didn't fall asleep, folks. And y'all know that I'll be knocked out when I'm watching these films. So yeah, go see it if you want. It'll probably be on streaming in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. I did think that like, of course, with all the Jurassic Park films, there's a definitely an environmental commentary, right? And I would be remiss if I didn't, bring that up. And I think that that's probably the biggest appeal, right? There was this really great moment when they were talking about kind of how the earth resets itself, and like the earth sees us kind of like gnats, and it just kind of flicks us off when it's done with us, right? And I was really thinking about that, kind of considering where we are with the climate change and all the stuff that we're dealing with environmentally. Like we really are on the verge of the earth hitting the reset button in the same way that it kind of did with the dinosaurs. It's going to get rid of the humans because like we've done too much, right? And so I'm really interested in what that extinction level event will be. But I like that they talked about it, and there was a lot of like conversation about the environment and the destruction that humans have done to the environment, and our piss poor conservation efforts and like all these kinds of things, the greed of these biotech companies, and the greed of CEOs, all these kinds of things. These were like really potent messages throughout the film, and I thought that they didn't hammer you over the head with it, but at least they confronted it, because what's the point of a film talking about going to extract biomaterial from dinosaurs that have been abandoned, right? Um, and honestly, like that was a touching moment too, kind of like thinking about these animals were created, they were brought back to like de-extincted, they didn't ask to be. Then they started crossbreeding them and messing up their entire like lifeline, and then they were just abandoned and basically like figure it out. And they just told the humans to stay away. Like that's kind of like wild, right? So I did like the environmental message. And I appreciated that they really kind of put it in perspective. Like, yeah, no, we're really insignificant. Human beings are really insignificant when it comes to the life of this planet that we're on, right? So that was awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna give it 3.5 hearts. I give it 3.5 hearts. I think I'd even give it 3.25. 3.75 hearts. How about that? I'll give it 3.75 hearts because I do like that little, conservation message. But yeah, go see it. Check it out. Let me know if you saw it already. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so that you get notifications when I have new reviews. I really love doing this stuff, and I thank you all so much for the support. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.